All right, we back. You know what I would say that I can't say? We're not 10 minutes into the video yet. I can't be cussing for real. But I will be hitting y'all with these bangers. But yeah, for real. We back. Back at it. Every time. And y'all knew that. Every time. Let's just hit a quick little recap real quick, obviously. My boy, my boy Izuku about to die. That's, my boy Izuku about to get that game over screen. That's just what happened at the end of the last video. Before, I talked a little bit about his funeral. I talked about how he almost starved. Talked about the orphanage a lot. We was stuck in that orphanage. Technically, we still in the orphanage, but watch the last video. Watch the one before that. They alright. But yeah, continuing on. They done met Toga in the alleyway. Toga done rushed Izuku and Kai, but mainly Izuku, on some about to stab him, drink his blood, all kinds of finishing techniques. Izuku, who pretty much has zero training in actual fighting, he, especially against someone that's actively trying to take their life, is helpless in this situation. 9 out of 10 times, he loses his life here. It's a great thing he got Kai. Because when Toga out here lunged forward, Kai, he put his hands up, air started rotating a little bit, a lot of it. Because he needs to flip Toga. He go, start generating the air. You go from, Toga going forward to Toga going up, slamming into the ground. Didn't expect that one. Obviously, Izuku a little bit still surprised. He shaking off the almost dying. But he recovered quick, realized what's going on. He still got the pipe in his hand. He tried to swing down. Toga, instantaneous dodges. They look up, ain't nowhere to be seen. Huge disadvantage they're in. Because Toga's actually nice. Because Toga's nice like that. She a real fighter. So, they hearing a couple different things, right? A little bit of her laughing, a little bit of trash getting bounced off of, things getting knocked over, all kinds of distractions too. You know how she is. Can't be seen if she don't want to be seen, for real. So, Kai, he get a little bit scared, activate his quirk all around himself and Izuku. It's rotating air, and it's rotating kind of fast. Toga throw some knives at it just to test the waters. They get hit and pushed away, down and away. So it's a good bubble. But Izuku knows they kind of got to get out of the situation. It's not a good situation to be in at the moment. And Kai would probably tire himself out doing this because Kai's a little slow, just a little slow. He ain't thinking that far ahead. He just trying to survive somehow. This is not the way to do it. So obviously Izuku tell him to drop the shit. Kai like, what's going on? What you mean drop it? We fighting an actual killer out here. He's like, you gotta trust me. Drop it, right? So he dropped it because you know how Kai is. Real soldier out there. He gonna follow all the. You know what he is. He a real soldier out there. It don't matter what the order is. He gonna follow that for real. After they drop it get eerily quiet. Toga, it feel like from Izuku's perspective, it feel like Toga might be trying to calculate what Izuku's plan is. That's just what he's thinking though. He close to Kai, extra close. listening intently. He got ears open, eyes closed. He know he ain't gonna see the bitch. But at the very least, if nothing else, he might be able to see her or hear her coming. Might be able to feel her coming. Anything is better than getting stabbed up quick. And so they stayed there in silence for a minute. Not a long time. Kai obviously shaking a little bit, scared. Ain't never been in this situation before. Izuku calm. That kind of calms Kai down a little bit. Izuku focused, listening intently. He heard the faintest sounds, some whooshing, like somebody's preparing for the attack. He told that boy to act. He said, "Now!" Boy activates it, right? Obviously, Toga gets caught up in it. Is it enough to take her out? Not at all. But Izuku got a rebound off of it. Any slight advantage is better than being stuck in this position. So when she get caught in the bubble air sphere, gets deflected off, kind of damaged a little bit, right? He jump off Kai. Can't even really tell Kai what to do next because he's so focused on trying to checkmate, trying to finish the job. Kai, he catch on. He dumb, but he ain't that dumb. He slow, but he ain't too slow. He dumb, but he ain't slow. You feel me? But anyway, he let the air shield stuff go. Kai, he looking at Izuku. He rushed in with the metal pole on him. It looked like he about to swing on her. That's not gonna do nothing as far as Izuku is considered. So he punk faked the swing. Toga tried to hit the dodge out the way. Izuku caught her ass. Hit her with the pole up against the neck, up against the floor. Cause the trip move hit her. When he grabbed her, trip with the pole on her neck to the ground. She still got knives though, so my boy Kai gotta be over there with it. Just in case things get wicked. Obviously in this position, my boy Izuku, he got questions he need answered. He got questions he need answered. Why is she following them? What's she talking about boyfriend for? What's going on with the knives and the murderous intent? Why him specifically? It's questions that need to be answered that only she could answer. But my boy started off, so I'm like, why was he tracking us? What's wrong with you? She was like, tracking you? I didn't know you realized I was following you like that for that long. In response to the question, she decides to tell them what her quirk is. Because in Toga's mind, they don't get to walk away. They somehow, some way, both of these people they're not leaving this alleyway for real, right? It don't matter the situation. To her, these two are amateurs at best at fighting, and really on the lower scale of the entire situation. But that's okay. She explained what her quirk is. I forgot what her quirk name was, but you know what it is. Drink blood, turn into people, especially people that she like. And that was, that solves a whole lot of the mysteries that Izuku has. Okay, to him it's like, okay, bet she after me, for some reason or another she messing with me, and this is how she show her affection somehow. I guess, but now he over here like, how am I going to stop this from being a problem? Like it can't be a problem forever. It's like, what is my options that's going to make this problem disappear, basically? Kai in the same boat. He's like, so what are we gonna do? We can't leave her here. She'll probably just find us again later. And that's only if she lets us leave from this talk. We gotta, do something. Zuko start thinking, right? And he's like, Toga. She's like, yes? What if I make a deal with you? She's like, I'm listening, because Toga gonna live freely. She don't gotta accept the deal, but she is willing to hear what Izuku gotta say. He was like, I'll give you my blood. And she like, huh? You know, she already on the, you know, she like, this this even like a good deal so far. And you know, the more Izuku starts thinking about this after he says, I'll give you my blood in this deal situation, right? The larger his smile grows. He's like, all I need you to do is help me take a couple people out first. And she's like, I mean, I guess. You know, I feel she might just be able to kill this nigga just off rip, right? But you know, she also like could be a cool date. You know, I mean, she ain't against killing people, but it depends on who it is. So that's when Izuku decides to run the plan down with her. The entirety of the plan, most of it, almost everything, basically, right? Especially the parts that he needs her to do. I'm not telling y'all the plan because I'm about to, y'all know what it is. Either way, it take a little while because this is Kai's first time hearing the plan as well. So he asked some questions. Toga got questions. He giving them answers. You know, this is what I need you to do. This, that, and the third. Right here, right here. By the time they finish, it's way darker than it was before. Like the sun done went down completely. So they go back to the orphanage. Knocking on the door. They see all the people, see the groceries and stuff. They like, all right, bet. You know, tell Izuku to go put the groceries up in the kitchen and stuff. While they talk to Kai, trying to see, like, you know, did you get some information about his quirk and stuff, you know, because y'all know what they on. Izuku putting the stuff up in the back, right? He putting the food up, helping. Who would it be? What kid would it be? Helping one of the staff members and maybe one of the kids. Yeah, helping one of the staff members and one of the kids, like one of the younger kids, put the groceries up, pantries, refrigerators, freezer, all that. You know, while he doing that, you know, he getting along with the kid and stuff, right? This staff member ain't got, you know, this staff member not gonna try to ask him about what his quirk is because he just got here. They waiting a little bit. They trying to play it cool with him. You know, once he done in the kitchen, you know, Madison pull up. You know, she's trying to find out, you know, if anything's changed with the plan in the time that he's been outside. She's not expecting anything to have changed with the plan, but I mean, she gotta check in. You know, she's taking care of a whole bunch of people, and they want to know who this new person is. The trust ain't trusting. You know, ain't nobody here trusting him. He gotta find his own way for most of it. You know, and now people checking in on him. Izuku, you know, he responded like, "Yeah, we'll probably be done by the morning." And she looked back at him like, "What?" Because she really want to know what the plan is. He only been here about 2-3 days, really 2. How he get a plan that fast? How is it already almost done? And he been with Kai this whole time. She's trying to check his work. He not giving her no information. Talking about you just gonna have to wait and see, basically, right? So that's what, you know, she would back off. You know, they is surrounded by a whole bunch of staff. A whole bunch of staff members is around. You know, they might be trying to listen in, and she not trying to blow it. So she back off. You know, she back off. Almost trying to think about trusting him. She don't. Not right now, but, you know, she thinking about it. Staff members, right? After a while, you know, they start going home like it was for before. The main one in her office. She the only one left. She got to stay after, do whatever, taxes, bills, whatever she doing. You know, Izuku, it's time. You know, he go up there to her, you know, to her office. Knock, knock, you know, hit the, you feel me, the knocks. Dang, if I was saying this right now, knock jokes galore. No, I'm joking. But, you know, he go to our office at the got to knocking on the door and stuff. You know, obviously, the head mistress, lady person. She like, man, I could have sworn it was lights out. What these kids doing at my door and shit, you know? So she gotta get up. She opened the door, and Izuku walk in. Right? Oh, she sees Izuku. She obviously trying to figure out like what do you want? What's going on? And Izuku start walking in, and he's like, I heard we had a selling kids operation going on over here. And when he says this, he walks up, he already up in her office, he chooses to sit down on her desk looking at her. She looking at him, door still open, right? She closed it. And she started thinking, in her head, she like, okay, he been hanging around Kai all day, so she over here questioning him like, and I assume Kai told you this? And, Zuko, he over here like, it don't really matter who told me. I just want to know everything you know. Zuko, I can assure you that we do not sell our kids. It is loving families that come to us and they see the kids, they pick them out, and before she can even continue, Zuko's like, and they get brought into loving, happy, caring families, yada, yada, yada. We do not care at all. She started, she's feeling disrespected, and the kids don't be out here just over talking her like this, But Zuko not done. He looked at her and was like, so I'm gonna give you a couple options. You'll either tell me everything that you know about this selling kids operation, or we can get violent, because the Zuko mind state right now, right? The boy he was talking to before, talking about how he really helping him out. It's teetering again. He don't know if he want to be a hero or a villain no more. He can't even really decide for real. But he is leaning towards the villain of this shit. He don't believe there's a future for him as a hero. He can't believe that anymore. There's too much evidence that's pointing against that. But he is doing something in this orphanage. Old woman, right? She started laughing. Old girl, she started laughing at him in his face, like, oh my gosh. Do you think that strength quirk you guys is gonna stop you from the cops that we got on payroll? I don't even know what you think is going on over here, but you are out of your depth, son. She's full on laughing at him, right? Obviously, Izuku, he getting flashbacks to school. Everybody laughing at him and shit. He trying to calm himself down though, right? He like, all right. First off, I don't have a strength quirk. I'm quirkless. And when he say that, she stopped laughing, look at him. And but he was gonna say something else, but her abrupt stop, made him stop. He's looking at her, and she was like, "You're serious, aren't you?" And he was like, "Yeah." She started laughing even harder. So not only is a child threatening me, he's quirkless. He's a quirkless, worthless child threatening me. Laughing a storm. If the door wasn't closed, she would probably assume somebody woke up hearing all this laughter that she's doing. But the door is closed, so she feel like she alone in shit, right? And she just, this is the funniest shit she done heard in centuries. She might keep this nigga around just to make more jokes like this. At least that's what she was thinking up until she felt that pain in her leg. And she, confused a little bit. She look at her leg. She see Toga. She don't know that's Toga, but it is Toga. She like, huh? Because this is a child she ain't never seen before. And Toga look at her. I was like, hello. All of a sudden, it's like the knife that was in her leg slid up. You feel me? Ripping all the muscles, the ligaments, everything. Then her leg clipped both her legs in the sky while she falling to the ground. Head don't even get the option to just hit the floor naturally. Toga pushed her head to the floor, face first.
automatic got the gag on her, just a white towel, wrapped it around her mouth, so she wouldn't be screaming too loud. You feel me? Because Toga nice with this murder and shit. And Izuku start walking over to her. And obviously, a lot of the emotions that canon Izuku has died out in this Izuku, right? All that compassion, it's like you only get it when you've met other criteria. But if you ain't met any of the criteria, you might as well be cattle. You might as well be worthless on the street. You're trash to him. So Izuku start walking up, right? Looking down at her. And he tells Toga to go get everybody else. And, Toga leave, happily. He didn't tell Toga that the deal was with Madison because, Toga is crazy and probably would try to kill him faster if he did tell her that. But, Toga is cool with that. She go get everybody. While looking at, the teacher, he step on her, roll her over, got her looking up at him now. He's seeing the fear in her eyes and stuff while she gagged. He looking at her. And he, like I'm saying, he's still kind of teetering. He's still in the gray. This is technically a gray action. You feel me? This isn't an evil, quote unquote, action from him. And he doesn't consider it evil as well, because he's doing it and helping people. He's doing it to a violent degree. But, at most you can say he's an anti-villain, anti-hero, some shit. And now even a vigilante is popping to his head. Maybe he could be a vigilante. The good nature that he's always had in his head is at war with every experience he's ever experienced as a quirkless person in this world. Added on to by the fact that All Might said that he couldn't be a hero. So, he looking down at her and he's like, he got to get the job done. He needs all the information about everything about this kid selling operation they got going on. So he looked down and he told her, don't worry, we're not going to kill you. We still need you. And for the rest of the night, the interrogation / torture, because, they had to make sure that she was telling them the truth. It happens. The entire rest of the night, the whole 8 hours niggas asleep is 8 hours of her getting messed up. Knives, kicks, punches. She all up in a bathroom in a tub. When it's over, she is dead. And basically, like, the whole bathtub is filled with a pool of her blood, because they drained her blood for Toga. Not that Toga really cares about this person, nor did Toga really want her blood, but it was part of his plan. Next day, right? Because I said it was a whole 8 hours. When the staff finally start coming in, right? They see the headmistress lady talking about she needs to talk to everybody one-on-one and to come see her in a designated area for the conversation. When they get there, the nurse girl I was talking about last episode, she hit niggas with the sedatives. They all getting tied up in the rooms that weren't occupied by the people, by the kids that was there. They get hit with the same treatment, basically. They, tortured, interrogated, all that. And, while they doing that, Zuko don't need to be there for them, because he was there for the first one, when they was writing down her stuff. So any added information is also getting written down, and if any lies, cross-reference, hear the truth from whoever was telling the truth, and then torture the person even more that was lying, if they still alive. Now, obviously, Izuku sees this torture, all that, as evil acts. You can't deny that, no matter what the situation is. But the result is still a good. Kids aren't getting sold no more. Depending on who you're talking to, somebody might see some benefit to it. And Izuku been also
just ducking Toga because he don't trust her at all. Sending her to talk to some other silver-haired girl that's in the building, especially when he found out what her quirk was. But we'll get to that later. Zuku, while they getting tortured, the rest of the staff, he falls asleep. Couple hours go by. He wake up. Kai waking up, talking about, hey, we got all the information, bro. We should probably, Madison said we should probably have a meeting about it. Izuku wake up, rubbing his eyes and stuff. He's like, all right. Thanks for waking me up. I was, he was just up all night last night. I was just needed that sleep. He was like, oh, don't worry about it. We got you, man. And they go have a meeting. Now, let's just get some situation. Let's just get the information out the way real quick, right? All the staff is dead. Every last one of them. That was one of Izuku's goals. The second goal was all the information that they needed about the selling kids operation they got going on, right? So in this meeting, right, Toga's here. Let's just talk about who's here. Because everybody that already knew about it and a couple people that didn't, everybody that already knew about it is here. The nurse girl, I probably should actually give her a name now I'm thinking about it. I'm going to just call her Val. That's the abbreviation of her name. Not the abbreviation, the shortened version of her name. That's what people going to be calling her. Whole name? Valencia or some shit. Anyway, obviously Kai there, Madison there, the girl that unlocked the door. What did I say her name was? Amelia's there. The shy kid is there. What's his name? Aiden's there. Now y'all gotta, the shy one that was talking to Izuku beforehand, his name's Aiden, because I said so. Anyway, yeah, he there. Toga there. The girl that's been talking to Toga is there. Toga don't really want to kill Izuku no more after seeing all this, but there's an alternate reason. The actual reason. We'll get to that later. I'm gonna have to give her a name too. Fucking Crystal. That's her name. Because I said so. Crystal's there. That's the girl that Toga's been talking to. That's pretty much it. That's all that's there. And obviously we gotta get to the facts of the situation. So, Madison, she started talking about everything that everybody said. She wasn't the one that would actually, wrote everything down, but she's the one that's reading it out. From the consistent information that they got before somebody is supposed to be sold off, they're emailed about it. Basically, it's a coded email that gets sent to the headmistress, to her personal email or her business email or whatever, and it happens either every month or every other month. It's one of those. They know they just sell them to a group of human traffickers, basically, but they don't know who's actually buying them. Apparently, from the torture, all they really knew is that they was just giving them any kind of name possible and theories they had, so the pain would stop, basically. So all of that was thrown out of relevant information. They got the email and the password to the email, so whenever the people show up next, they'll be ready for it. And that's pretty much it. They know the people. They know kind of the people that's coming to get them. They know the email account. They know the time frame / zone. They were all pretty confident that that the next time those people was gonna pull up would be next month, not this month. But they don't really know that for a fact. They just assume that's what's happening. Obviously, they don't know who's actually buying the kids, and they don't know what's happening to the kids. So, we can't do nothing about that. So, after hearing all this information, Izuku,
He's happy with the information that they've gotten, right? They were able to, cross all the things that didn't matter, didn't make sense, get the information that they really needed. And they got rid of everybody that was in the way right now so far. They'll have to get rid of everybody else that's in the way later, but, everybody that was in the way so far is already out the way. So niggas are almost good. And with that, and with niggas being almost good, Toga pipe up. She like, all right, is it finally time for the deal to transact, right? Because this was all that the deal inquired, for him to go throughout all of this, and for her to take her blood, for her to take his blood, basically. Niggas acting like they kind of like done with the meeting, basically. And, Zuku, he's like, yeah, I'll give you my blood, but let's do it tomorrow, basically, right? He putting that shit off. He do not want to give this motherfucker his blood for real. But Toga, she been talking to the old girl, what's her name, Crystal, and she's willing to wait. Crystal been helping her wait a little bit longer, right? Being a little bit less preoccupied, being more preoccupied with other things than getting Izuku's blood, basically. And she's like, all right, bet. I'll wait till tomorrow, but only till tomorrow. This, she's saying this is last day or whatever. And, Zuko's like, hey, Crystal, make sure she good. Don't let her scare any of the kids. And, Crystal stand up and she's like, oh, okay, And before, Toga already out the door. Before, she leave the door, Zuku said, hey, Crystal, look at her. And Crystal look at him. And he like, make sure she don't scare the kids. All right. That's code words. That's coded language that only I know about. Ha ha ha. Anyway, Crystal obviously understand what he's talking about. She go after her. Izuku already know about what Crystal quirk is. I'm gonna hide it from y'all for a little bit longer, but Izuku knows about it. And Kai over here like, are you sure it's cool? Just having that murderer be around us like that. I mean, the only reason why she wanted to kill and take your blood is because she liked you. What if she started liking anybody over here? We'd have to do the same thing again, And Izuku's like, yeah, but I also couldn't do it without her. All that blood that's in the buckets and in the bathtub, we needed it because of her. She was the key. It just so happened that she was crazy. We'll get through it. Izuku's like, more importantly, I want to know more about y'all. What led y'all to be here, what your quirk is, who you are. I've done my side of the deal. I got us out of the terrible situation that we were in. It's not a lot left to do to completely be rid of this terrible situation. It would help me a lot more to know who you are. And, Amelia, she like, aren't you dying tomorrow? Does it really matter if you know who we are or not? And Izuku, he kind of started laughing a little bit, chuckling. He sit back down in his chair. He's like, won't you entertain somebody that's about to die soon? And, they like, they look at each other. They're like, all right, Aiden. We'll start with Aiden. He's a human hacker, basically, right? He can see multiple devices throughout whatever room, right? Just looking at the device while it's turned on gives him all the personal information on the phone. He can hack in the computers, TVs, and he could probably do more, but he hasn't trained with it for real. Like, it's just the base level of his ability, right? He can just operate electronics without needing the remote, basically, or needing to be there. Like Aiden Pierce from Watch Dogs, that's where I got him from. All right, that was the connection to who Aiden was. They act hella different, but that's his power type. If you played the game, you should know that I'm about to use that nigga a lot. Amelia, no, Madison, right? She started explaining her quirk, where she can give off and like bring things certain. She can bring different things to life. It's they're not really useful per se, unless she would have to give up a lot more. It consumes a lot more of her stamina to bring these things to life and make them useful. She could, it would just suck, but she could do it. It's not a bad quirk, depending on what she brings to life and how much energy she decides to give it, or how many things she decides to give a little bit of energy. But, you know, that's pretty much what it is. We got Kai. Y'all know what Kai do. He rotate the wind. Amelia is as she explains, is an alchemist. You know, she can do transmutation, basically, right? Oh, she don't really need the circles. She lost her mom and her sibling the first time she ever used the quirk. On the Elric brother shit, basically, right? And my nigga Edward shit from Full Metal Alchemist. Which is where I got that power from. Because I can only be so original. All right, let me cut the current corners a little bit, man. I can only be so original in this bitch. Either way, I said I wasn't going over Crystal, Val, right, and Jack. Shit, did I even mention Jack? There's a kid named Jack here too. All right, he wasn't important. Not for real. We'll get to his quirk. Val. She just has the ability to see what ails a person. If she looks at you and activates her quirk and there's something that's, causing you some kind of sickness or pain, she can see it. Jack, shit, I don't even know. There's so many Jacks in the world. Like, I kind of know who I base it off of, but whatever. Jack got his quirk is called Will or some shit, right? The more it's like a doping effect. Like, he can force his quote unquote will to be stronger for something, and he'll be able to do it more. But the more it's like Sugar Rush, but instead of sugar, is his actual will, right? If he desires to do it more, it'll be easier. If he doesn't want to do it, but he can force himself to do it, and by the time it finishes, the drawback is it varies depending on how much you want to do it or not, right? Drawback could be damn near nothing. He could actually get like a desire to do it more, and he'll be able to use his quirk for longer. If he doesn't want to do the shit, he can force himself to do it. Obviously, when he finishes it, he'll be like way more tired than usual if he didn't use his quirk and did it anyway. But yeah, that's all they quirks. Izuku would have heard about it, like I'm telling y'all, and they would have went over what happened, right? Well, how they got here, right? Especially Aiden would have went first. Kai already told him. So let me just tell you, right? So Aiden, dad wasn't in his life. That's fine, right? He had his mom and his little sister. That's all he's ever had, right? They was good, majority of, Aiden's life up until his mom got into a car crash and died. It was just him and his little sister. They couldn't go to the same orphanage. They were split apart. He don't know what's going on with his little sister for real. And he been here, kind of on his shot shit. You feel me? Because
because the nigga was what's it called, traumatized. You know, my my nigga was traumatized. You feel me? But it'd be alright. That's what got him here. Similar backstory to what happened with the actual Watch Dogs main character, the original Watch Dogs main character, Aiden Pierce. His last name is not Pierce, but same thing. Either way, right? And this girl say something about like it's not, she didn't have a terrible life or anything, right? Shit happens. Mom and dad wasn't able to take care of her for real, nor were they able to take care of her themselves. Had to put their kids up for adoption. I'm gonna say she's the only child though. Had to put her up for adoption and shit after they split. That's why she apathetic all the time. Nobody else is really, other than those two, nobody else is really trying to give away their backstories for the free. I mean, they don't even know Izuku's backstory. The nurse girl would have given her backstory up because she wasn't the only, she been here and doesn't necessarily care. She don't really give a fuck, so she didn't necessarily think it was a problem too. Aiden gave up his backstory because he connected with Izuku yesterday. Well, or the day before. One of those days, it don't matter. And he thought everybody was going to do it. After everybody else starts, showing hesitation and shit, not really wanting to talk, Izuku, he go up to, he like, all right, bet. And he started leaving, he don't really say nothing to them for real. He go up to the roof and shit. And, he just looking over the city as a night taking place. Niggas going to work. Some niggas having fun. Some niggas going home. He just watching the whole little area that he in while he on the roof. Everybody ends up following him, apparently. He didn't realize they were going to, but they ended up following him. And, he was like, all right, bet, he starts, okay, yeah, he like, he turn around, he see everybody over there, he like, he in his head, like, what the fuck, what are y'all doing here? They all look at Kai because Kai decided to follow him, so they folks following Kai because they thought Kai knew some shit that they didn't. Kai was just following this nigga because there was nobody else to follow for real. Either way, niggas is upset at Kai a little bit. They like, nigga, you had us come out here for no reason. You was just following his ass, And Izuku, he like on some shit. Yeah, he just looking over the like I said, he looking over the spot, right? As everybody back there, they having fun, enjoying each other's company and shit. Like, they actually friends and shit. That's when Kai pull up on them. I mean, he fulfilled the requirements. He got to the goal. He actually, on some leader shit. You feel me? And, they look at him like a little bit like, Some of them obviously on some like, bro, he's quirkless. You feel me? I mean, leader, that's a little bit pushing it, But, Madison, she pull up and she like, no, nah, he was fully confident he was going to be able to get this job done. And he actually got the job done. That's a leader. He didn't even have everybody help. He went and found one other person, whether it was luck or not. It was him, Kai, who be following anybody in this bitch, and some random girl that he made use of. I'd say that's qualities of a leader, and Zuko looking back at her on some, trying to figure out what her angle is, right? And she, honestly, she giving him his props. That's all it really is. And Izuku, that thought flows into his head too. In circulation with the other things that could have been. And it was like he was over here thinking like, dang, she might really just be trying to give me my props and stuff, And everybody else, they kind of like, they respecting it. Madison low-key been the leader the whole time. And for her to give up this amount of praise to somebody else, they gotta respect it a little bit. But they also don't know shit about him. That's what Izuku also realized. So he like, what, this is the perfect time. I guess I could explain to y'all, what my backstory is and how I got here. There's some shit ain't nobody know.
So he explained what his life was like for someone who was quirkless, raised by their mom only, and he talks about what happened with his house, right, burning down, and his mom being there, and the criminals that was also there that basically caused the whole thing, and the police that didn't do anything because he was quirkless. Well, they did less things, less fast because he was quirkless. Other priority calls and stuff, right? And niggas start feeling with him. Obviously, it's not enough to make them do some heinous villain shit yet, but they do feel him though. They respect it. After hearing that, my boy Kai, dumbass over here. This my nigga Kai just over here bawling his eyes out. Talk about, my nigga, I didn't know you went through all that. Man, that's crazy. Whole world is tripping, man. I didn't even know. You feel me? And this Kyle for just sniffling up in the corner and shit. Zuku. It's been a long ass time since he done cried like that. But he also not about to start now. So Madison come over and was like, "So what's the plan now?" Obviously, you don't plan on letting that girl take your whole life from you. So what do you want to do? Just on some genuinely curious shit. And Zuku really got to think about it, right? He like started really thinking about it. And, in his head, you feel me? It's still a decision. He could be on some vigilante, anti-hero, whatever the fuck. But he knows he doesn't want to. Not after the shit he just had to relive by retelling the story. After retelling the story and getting those feelings out even more, he know he won't. He don't even want to be a hero no more. He knows it. Don't want to be an officer. Don't want to go back into society. He made that decision when he left his house. So, he started talking, right? He like when I was in school and I had this teacher, and he was always talking to me, especially me. I think like my mom was, begging him to treat me with some kind of respect, I guess. And he really took heart to that. Maybe he respected my mom. Maybe he respected the amount of love that she had for me. Maybe he really saw something in me. But he always said that there's two types of people in this world. The ones that will be shown as an example to others, and the ones that will be made an example to others. The ones whose actions will be shown as an example of what to do in society. And people who do what they want and will be made an example of in front of society, in front of their peers, in front of their families. I know I'm not a hero. I know I can't be. But I think I want to aim to be the worst example in history. I want people to find my name in the history books generations from now and become sick looking at the list of crimes that I committed. I want the kids of the kids to be fearful of the name Izuku Midoriya 20 years after I'm dead. I want to be what everyone looks at when they realize that it could be worse. I want to be that example. I want that to be my legacy. And as he's saying that, right, niggas looking at him, is this nigga serious? They looking at him and they just see him with the, he got like almost a smirk on his face. Like he truly believed he could do this shit. They damn near believe in him because of the shit. Like this nigga fully believed that he could really be the worst type of criminal in history. Be a villain beyond villains. To set a whole new standard of what a villain is. Before anybody else could say anything, Izuku realized that
He kind of done affiliated himself with these niggas. They might be taken aback with the situation. Like, damn, maybe maybe them niggas don't want to be villains. Maybe they don't want to be led by a nigga that's gonna be the ultimate villain in this bitch. So he turned around and was like, obviously I'm not gonna make y'all try to be what I'm on, but you know, and before he could even really finish, right, they kind of all really come to a conclusion that the type of villain he gonna be, you either really with him or you're against him. And since they do fully believe in this nigga being at least some kind of notorious, even with him being quirkless, they like, shit, I'm gonna be with him. It's not like heroes done saved them at any point in their life previous to this shit. A lot of them do, right? A lot of them think that, especially Aiden and Kai and Madison, because she didn't necessarily give a fuck one way or the other. Kai, obviously with his dumb ass, he in front of them niggas on some, don't worry, we got your back, bro. You feel me? Gonna help him get his revenge, basically. And although there were people there that was, in agreement with that shit, and nobody was really kind of like in disagreement with it, they was still like, how the fuck you gonna decide that for us? That start beating on his ass. Like, who the fuck do you think you is? Nigga, who made you leader? You feel me? As that nigga call like, oh shit, I'm sorry. Damn, I didn't know. Oh, I thought we was all in agreement. Damn, you feel me? And shit, I mean, this nigga done started. He got himself a little crew. It's not large, and they ain't really did no super villainous shit yet. I mean, they did torture and kill a whole bunch of staff members, but they kind of needed to. So yeah, he still don't necessarily consider that a full evil act, but as Kai says in between him getting his ass beat, it's like, whether you gonna be a hero or be a villain or do whatever, we gonna follow you. I think, he looking around his shoulder now, like, I think we cool with following you, right? At least I am. And he look at the rest of them, he turned around fully, and they like, yeah, I don't care. I mean, it don't matter for real. I just what one way or another, do what you do, and I'll help you out, And one by one, they all, they go into agreement with the shit. Like, yeah, you alright, you cool, we cool in my books, which, it make that nigga happy. This is the first time this nigga has really ever had friends, people, confidants, niggas that's gonna ride and die for him. As they finish up, with they shit, you damn near bring a tear to my nigga. My nigga let one shed. You feel me? Madison put her head on her hand on his shoulder, talking about, come on now, we can't be watching the leader crying shit. You feel me? You gotta hold your head up high. And they done they didn't fell in line with his ass. Now they want to know more of the plan, because they are putting their trust in him, but he also putting his trust in them. So he gonna tell them when the plan is fully active. It's nighttime. He about to go to sleep. He don't give a fuck what they do, and niggas go back inside. The kids running around. They ain't seen none of the staff all day since they showed up, but they ain't really worried about it. And now and then niggas realize, oh yeah, we got hella children that we got to take care of and make sure that they don't, destroy the entire building and kill each other with their quirks, basically. So they they take the place of the staff, pretty much. Got them fed, bathed, clean laundry, all that. Everybody doing their part. Izuku, he go to sleep. And my nigga have a dream, another dream. This time, he face to face with the voice that he heard in his last dream. A slightly younger version of himself. The version of himself that was more positive. Version of himself that wanted to be a hero for real. He talking to him about doing a good thing in a violent way, but he still saved so many people. He still helped so many people. And they're perfectly fine with him doing whatever. He's got himself people now. He can change. He doesn't have to be this way. He may not have to be a hero, but he could do whatever. There's still another option for him. There's still hope that he can spread to all the quirkless out there, to anybody else that's suffering in a similar way to him. He don't have to be what they made him to be. And in this dream, it's like as the younger version of him was talking, it's like they were in like a void of lightness, of brightness. And then his regular self started talking. And the shit started getting grayer and darker and darker. As he was talking about, like, I could. That is entirely true. I have infinite chances. I have so many options that I could do whatever with. I could be whatever I want. It didn't have to be just from hero to villain, but my mom didn't deserve that. No matter what the situation was, it didn't matter. Because I would have only done it for her. And now she's gone. Buried. Now I wasn't even there. I was gone. I decided to leave. I chose this. I chose this before they showed up. Because of how long it took them to show up. Even if they wouldn't have been able to get to me immediately, they could have been there sooner than when they did. As he started walking closer. And he's like, so you don't have to forgive me. You'll have to excuse my outbursts. Because as he puts a hand on the younger version's shoulder, I've gone through way too much in this world to even think about giving a single person in it a second chance or a happy ending. And the younger version of him start trying to debate, like, what about your friend? As Izuku cuts him off by wrapping both his hands around his neck, as the room fills up with this darkness, damn near like a liquid blackness. As the younger version started trying to fight him off, they fell down. He put his goddamn head in the water, the darkness, and he was like, with me already choosing this path, they don't get a happy ending either. They don't understand it yet, but they're gonna lose too. Hell, I'm gonna lose. And I'm okay with that. As long as I get to be the worst example on the planet. As long as everyone throughout history can look at me as what I am. The purest form of what a villain is. And before anything else can, be said or done, Izuku wakes up. He's like, shit, even he's clear-headed now. The beef is subconscious now. You feel? It's up for everyone, no matter who it is. And yeah, he fucks with them, his friends, right? He's not gonna actively put them in harm's way, but by deciding to be a villain, he understands that there's no winning. That eventually they will all lose. If nothing else, he's counting on himself to lose. He knows that will be the ending of himself. But he's going to make it hard for him. They don't get to leave. Heroes don't get to win easy. His mom didn't get to go easy. Not old age, not a random uncurable sickness. It was violent for her. So it'll be violent for them. But other than that, he's crystal clear in his head now. He ain't got no fog. He got no prior decisions. He's perfectly content with the situation as it is, and is ready to use, abuse, destroy, lie, betray, kill anybody that he has to, starting with Toga. So he got to go make sure that she does or doesn't want to take his blood anymore. He's hoping for the doesn't, to see if that situation is working out the way he thought the situation was gonna work out. So he leave his room and stuff. He can't even fully get out the fucking door without Toga down there tackling him inside his room again. He done hit the floor. He's talking about Izuku. Start biting his neck and shit. She drawing blood already. You feel me? Crystal right behind him on her, slightly shy shit. She done heard about Izuku's whole past and what the decision was. The unanimous decision of being cool with him anyway, from the people that, from Madison and Amelia and everybody else that was already there. And when looking at Crystal, from the floor, Izuku's looking at Crystal. And, she was about to say something up until she noticed their eyes was locked. And she gave a thumbs up. And he was like, oh, bet. And he turned to Toga. And it's like, so you planning on taking my blood now, or? And she was like, I heard about your past and stuff, and I don't know, I just don't think I want to, treat you like how I treated all the other ones. But I am still infatuated with your blood, so I had to, give me some. So, but I will be. I think we should, be remaking this deal arrangement that we got going on. And Zuku was already on some, as she hopping off of him and shit, he already on some like, I'm not gonna be your boyfriend. So I don't know if that's what the deal was, but I'm not doing that yet. I don't even know you for real. This bitch already on my I'm joking. But she was like, yeah, we can wait on that. Don't worry about it. But I think I need at least a little bit of blood from you every week. You should be able to regrow your blood every week. You'll be all right. And Zuku, he's like, so you're not gonna kill me, but you do still want my blood and a little bit of it every week. And she's like, yep. And Zuku stand up and he like, what do I get from that? And she's like, well, you're pretty weak. And she was like, he was like, well, damn, nigga. well, damn, bitch. I guess. And she was like, well, I'm saying I'll train you my personal fighting style in exchange every week. I just need a little bit of blood, just a small amount, just a smidge of your blood. And Zuku now is wondering how much, like how much is a smidge? Like, you want an ounce? You want a pint? You feel me? She was like, I mean, a pint if you offering. It was like, no. How much originally was you thinking? It's not much at all, just 2-3 ounces or some shit. Toga weird, but she less weird here because of reasons that we're gonna get into soon. But yeah. Zuku, he on board with it. He on board with the new deal. He fucking with it. Ready to use and abuse Toga for all that she's worth. At the cost of some like 2-3 ounces of his blood. He's surprised she ain't go to 5. And Zuku like, I mean, well, that would be helpful, but I wouldn't just want it to be me learning from you. I'm sure there's other people that also need to learn, and I think we should get into that along the way. She like, so is that a deal? And they shake hands on that shit. It's a deal, Toga. She happy. She run off and go play with the small children that's there in the building already. Crystal stay behind because she want to talk to him. She got doubts. Crystal's quirk is a what's the word called? Hypnosis. Those follow the coin trick things and how you hypnotize and shit, right? That's basically what her quirk is. That's one of the reasons why she here. Parents thought it was a villainous quirk. They wasn't fucking with it. Got rid of her. Parents actually rich, but we'll get to that. But yeah, she talking to him like, I don't know. I've never really used my quirk that way before. And this was the whole situation with her. Once he found, because he did look through those goddamn stacks of paper. He already knew some of the quirks. He didn't know all of them. Hypnosis was easy to understand though. So when he did bring Toga back, when he came back with the groceries, he found her immediately and was telling her about what he needed her to do over the course of time. She never knew. The way she used her quirk was more in the eyes. If you look at her in the eyes, you can become hypnotized if she activates it. The problem with hypnotization is that you don't know if you hypnotized or not. That's the main problem, right? So even if she wasn't using her quirk, it's hard for her to get trust from people because they don't know if she's using her quirk or not. Now, she doesn't go around telling really anybody what her quirk is because she wants friends and wants to have a normal life and shit, even if she's in this orphanage. But the fact that, Izuku already knew and was still willing to talk to her and need her, rely on her, she went along with it. She tried, right? It just so happens that she could, she obviously could have just heavily. Nobody in this orphanage is using their quirk extra, like on some training shit, right? So basically, all their quirks are damn near level 1. That's pretty much what this is. She, she could have did some extra shit and been like, forget about Izuku, right? That shit would have worked. And she would have forgotten about Izuku Midoriya probably up until she seen that nigga again. But Izuku didn't need her to get rid of her. He needed her controlled because from what he understood of this psychopathic female, she was actually deranged. She fell in love with him off sight alone and decided that she was going to kill him. Yeah, she needed to change her. He needed to change her completely, immediately. He wasn't taking no chances with that one, which is good because it probably would have been raps for the orphanage if he didn't. Either way, all he really needed her to do was make small suggestions over a course of time, which is why they've been hanging out so much. Activate her quirk and make some small suggestions that built up over the course of these 3 days and made her want to do it voluntarily now, right? She doesn't want to take Izuku Midoriya's blood anymore because she likes him so much. Instead of her wanting to drain him of all of his blood because because of the same reason, right? She's not going to hurt anybody else that she likes in this orphanage because Izuku is here. She likes Izuku the most now, right? Obviously in a canon version of this, it would have been different because of these, these suggestions that was placed onto Toga. It's she's not she'll still drink anybody's blood for real, pretty much anybody's blood, and especially if she likes it, she'll drink your blood. But over the course of time, if continued, she could damn near detest other niggas' blood and only like Izuku's blood. It could happen. Izuku don't need her that whip though, so it probably won't, but it could have happened. Obviously, right? That's just me explaining how it got to this point. Izuku, reiterates, because he didn't necessarily have a lot of time beforehand, but reiterates the situation to her, where it's like, hey, I understand that you ain't really got a lot of practice in the quirk, but the thing about Toga is, they look over the rail and they see her out down there playing with the kids and shit, right? She's, from what I understand, actually insane. Like this isn't a regular girl with some kind of blood kink or anything. Anybody that she falls in love with, anybody that she starts to actually care about is in danger. That's a problem. And obviously Izuku is talking out his ass because he don't fully know that for real, but I do. And that was one of the main reasons why I had to get this one in here because that actually is a problem. But yeah, he putting it on her head like that, where it's like, you did a good thing for us. This doing what you did has helped us a lot, because if I did give her all of my blood, there's no stopping her from going somebody after somebody else that was also in the orphanage. So Crystal, she decides that Zuko's right, and he's also, looking after them and trying to make sure they good, right? But she don't really like lying, but she gonna put that to the side because it helps some people. Izuku can still tell that she kind of a little bit, on the doubting side. So he like, how about this? I'm gonna be telling the truth to all of you. And she look at him like, what she talking about, right? What I'm saying is that and he like, I won't lie personally to any of you, right? Y'all will be the people that hold my trust. He see everybody else down there also playing with the kids and stuff, right? Some of them making breakfast or whatever. They gonna need more money, but they got some, they got into the bank account of the niggas that they have already killed and stuff. They gonna have to do something about the family members if they had any. But for now, them niggas good. For now. Izuku goes downstairs, right? He get his people, right? He get the homies, other ones that are available because some of them are doing other stuff. But Madison and Kai for sure. In outside of the actual story, canonly, these niggas got 10 months. Well, they got less than that before the actual people show up. Should be about 2 months, but in the show, they got 10 months. 10 months before the show actually, take place in UA and stuff. So Izuku, right? He talking to them about their quirks and stuff, right? And he want to see some improvement. He talking about we need to start practicing with the quirks, see what push the limits, see what we can do. He asking about if there's a large enough room that can have that. They got a basement. Don't nobody really go down there, but they got one. They go to the basement. Whole lot of taxes, whole lot of, records, off the record stuff. Just more criminal stuff that they've been doing because they're all criminals. Izuku, help everybody. They all help move the stuff out the way and stuff, right? It's a large area. Toga come down there. She gonna be helping Izuku learn what's it called? Her fighting technique, because I don't think there's an actual name about it for it, but she gonna help Izuku learn it. And my boy, niggas, for the next 2 months really, because that's up until shit hit the fan. He can't just be sending out niggas to die on their own. He can't just start doing villain shit immediately, even though he has completely considered himself a villain at this point in the story. For the next 2 months, because that's when them niggas gonna start showing up to take kids and shit. They gon', be training them quirks. Activating, my boy Izuku, he gonna be putting double time in. He the leader. He working day and night. Day and throughout the night. Trying to learn this stance, trying to learn this fighting technique. Should I end it there? Should that be it? Nah, I'm gonna talk a little bit more. As Izuku is setting this up for everybody, right, so that they can all get a little bit stronger. Obviously, niggas are appreciative of it. One of the people that started getting cold feet was his name, Aiden. You feel me? He started getting a little bit on the cold feet side of things, right? But he do remember Izuku backstory, so he goes in his room. He starts researching some shit. My nigga Aiden be all over the dark web and shit, right? He got the quirk to make sure that niggas won't find out where he at. So he ain't worried about it. Hell, his quirk can even his quirk can even see if niggas is hacking his shit. But he hop on the dark web and shit because he just trying to get some information. He don't know if he gonna be any good with a quirk like his. He ain't got no full faith in it, no full real confidence, but he do got confidence in his information gathering activity. So he trying to, he on over dark web trying to see what's good. With trying to see what's good with this human trafficking shit, putting in the buzzwords. As Izuku, he see he missing one. Kyle over here talking about Aiden went up in his room and shit. Probably because he self conscious about his quirk. He ain't got no combat quirk or whatever, right? Izuku gonna check on the homie. He go up there and stuff. Aiden don't even realize somebody that walked in his room. He all zoned in on this dark web shit. Izuku, he right behind him talking about what you looking at. He's like, oh shit, this obviously nervous. Don't nobody be in his room like this. But Izuku like he looking at it. Izuku ain't never been on the dark web. Never had a desire to. Never cared about it. This is his first time seeing it. So he looking around. He looking at these buzzwords. He like, what the fuck? What? He like, what the fuck am I looking at? Right? Aiden explained to him what it is. They bond over Aiden being obsessed with the dark web for real, and Izuku not giving a fuck. Not even ever knowing about it for real. As they go across different posts and stuff, trying to find something about this information, right? The buzzwords of kids and in danger and shit, right? Pops up a specific post, and Izuku, he see a picture, he started, he told Aiden to stop. Hold on, real quick, right? He looking at the post. Obviously it's anonymous, but it's talking, he's talking about some nerd live here and shit. This street address, they got a whole picture of it. Quirkless nobody, street address, picture. He done accidentally stumbled onto Bakugo's post of some back in part 0. And he realizes that one of the whole reasons why these niggas was put in danger in the first place was because of Bakugo hoe ass. This nigga put that nigga address on the dark web. Wasn't even on some childish shit. Talk about go egg his house or something. On the dark web. Where nobody is, he just found out about the dark web. If that nigga Izuku needed any more reason to be a villain, nigga. Obviously Aiden over here looking at him because this nigga Izuku look pissed to high hell. He like, you good, boss? And Izuku like, keep researching, Aiden. I'll come get you tomorrow. And that's where we're gonna leave it. That's where we're gonna leave it. I feel like that's the perfect place to leave it. Izuku, he got people training. He got 2 months before, shit happens. He just realized what was the real truth about what happened to his mom was. Him and his mom. It would only make sense for that nigga to be the cause of all this. It only makes sense. But he, as mad as he is, he know he gonna get back. Obviously, he had a personal vendetta against Bakugo anyway. He had a personal vendetta against All Might, kind of. But it was really against the entire world, but, And he is gonna hold the entire world still. Or at least he's gonna try to. But, those, Bakugo, and when I find you, Ricky, when I find you, no, anyway, that's pretty much it, man. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. That's all I'm going over. I gotta edit like hell right now. It's not as bad as that last one I posted, but it'll be decent. Hope y'all safe. Hope y'all not going through any of the stuff that Izuku is going through. I hope that I hope y'all doing good out there. Hope that things will be better for you every time. But yeah, stay safe out there though.